Today I'm making an herb box. I'm using reclaimed wood that my boyfriend had actually taken off the porch and replaced with new wood, which is why you'll see some of it's blue. I obviously sanded it all off, but yeah, I took the longest pieces that I had and I just had to work my way down and measure them and cut. And then I went to the table saw to cut it. I am actually very scared using a table saw. Usually I'll have Jeremy do it for me, but he was busy. He would have done it if I asked, but I didn't want to interrupt him because he was working on his own projects, and I'm kind of stubborn like that. I do love the fact that this table saw has a light, so you can see exactly where you're cutting, and you get a pretty straight cut unless you're me and you can mess it up even when it's right in front of you, which I usually do. I then went on to sand all the pieces down. In hindsight, I probably could have done this a different way to remove the paint. Maybe use paint stripper and then sand it, but I didn't. I feel like that would have taken longer, but honestly, this took me hours anyway. And yeah, I was just done sanding after this. I feel like I was still shaking for 3 days afterwards. But hey, it looks great, so I can't complain other than my arms. Instead of using brackets for the bottom of the box, I just used old wood. I didn't really feel like wasting brackets on the bottom of it, and I did want to lift on the box, and this actually worked perfectly for me. On the inside of the box, since I wasn't actually using one solid piece for each side, I used those poles in there that you can see, and I just screwed them all together to hold the box together. And I actually think I like this look better than just using one solid board for each side. It really gave it the look that I was looking for. I was also doing this at like 2 in the morning, and let me give you a piece of advice. Don't do that, because you are more than likely to make more mistakes, which makes this process take even longer when you're tired and it's 2 in the morning. But I did end up just lightly sanding it one more time after I was finished. I went to bed and I picked it up the next day. I then went to paint the entire box. I put 1 coat of white paint on the outside and 2 coats on the inside. And since I'm going to go over it, lightly sanding it to give it that older look on the outside, I did not want to use more than 1 coat. But also, just a side note, and I'm sure no one will care, I'm wearing my crazy cat shirt for my boyfriend's aunt because I know she's going to be watching this, and I thought it was hilarious, and hopefully it'll make her laugh. It also was such a beautiful day. It was windy, and the temperature was perfect. The only issue was it was windy, and I was painting a box, and so any dirt or anything just flew right onto it. And I mean, it ended up working out fine. I didn't mind because I knew I was gonna sand over it, and I got most of it off, I think. You'll see. course, here I am sanding it again. I honestly think there's a different way I could have gone about doing this to give it that older look, because sanding over fresh paint is really, really hard. And it wasn't wet, obviously it was dry. I waited hours to do this, but it still was extremely difficult. It took me so much longer to get the look that I want, and even then I probably should have let the paint sit for a few days before doing this, but again, I have zero patience. Just ask Jeremy. That's pretty much it for the box. I did put a protective coat over the whole thing after I sanded it down, so that the weather and the outdoor life that it will be living will not damage it. Although I'm sure it already looks damaged enough. But what I did is I took more wood, old pieces of wood, and I sanded it down, and I just decided to make little plaques for what I was planting in the box, which is basil, cilantro, and peppermint. I usually, when it comes to burning, I will write on the wood or draw on the wood and then burn over it, because it is really hard for me to freehand using a burner. It just always ends up looking pretty awful. And so this at least looks halfway decent if I just write it on before I burn it. The last thing I did was I took about 120 grit sandpaper and I just went over all the pieces. And then I took the same stain that Jeremy used for the deck and I put 2 coats on each piece. And it ended up looking really good in my opinion. But, I mean, you can see for yourself. But that's about it for my video. You'll see at the end I just put in my whole deck and the finished product. And so I really, really liked how it turned out. It was a lot easier than what I thought it would be. And this whole process honestly only took me, I think, 2 days to make it. And I have cilantro, peppermint, and basil growing now. But thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I have other videos on my channel if you want to take a look at it. I do some cooking, some cleaning, and this is my actual first project that I'm putting on here. If you guys want to see more videos like this, just leave a comment below. If you like this video, if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really enjoyed making this, and I hope everyone has a great day.